Another extreme weather situation that you must be prepared for in the summer months is high winds. Because you're operating a high-profile vehicle, high winds make you especially vulnerable and can be a real challenge. You can't always see the wind, but it can affect your control of the truck and trailer. If it's blowing hard enough, you can run off the road, jackknife, or even roll over, no matter how careful or prepared you think you are. Let's go to Paul Faines, another professional driver with years of experience, to talk some more about this.
Empty, lightly loaded, or high-stack loads are very susceptible to skids, jackknives, and rollovers in high winds. For this reason, it is critical to understand your load before you get on the road. As you're planning your trip, always know how much weight is on board and know how your freight is loaded in the trailer. A general rule of thumb is to consider that winds of 40 to 45 miles per hour blowing directly from the side can easily blow over a lightly loaded or empty trailer. As you drive, it is also important to consider the terrain, man-made obstructions, and wind flow. For example, if you're driving in the mountains, winds can be very strong as a result of downflow air that flows over the mountains or winds that flow through the canyons and valleys. Just past a hill can be especially strong. On windy days, even if you aren't driving in the mountains or in a canyon or valley, you can be hit by a violent crosswinds when moving from a protected area, such as a tunnel or an underpass, out into an open area. As you drive in high winds, look for the absence of trees, hills, or other protections when you're out in the open area. Also become familiar with those parts of the country that are typically windy all the time, such as Elk Mountain Range in Wyoming, I-80 in western Nebraska, and Donner Pass in Nevada. Back to you.
Thanks, Paul. Stay safe out there. Now, sometimes the wind can seem especially violent, which may be associated with a severe thunderstorm or tornado. Tornadoes typically consist of a violently rotating column of air extending from a thunderstorm to the ground. They can develop very quickly, and although they generally occur during spring and summer, tornadoes can happen at any time of the year. Throughout the spring and summer, watch for clues from the weather to determine if a tornado could be present. Are you driving through a storm? What does the sky look like? Some typical signs that a tornado is present include large, dark, low-lying clouds, hail, a dark, greenish-colored sky, or the air may suddenly die down and become very still. Make sure to look all around you in these conditions. You may drive through a storm only to have a tornado form right behind you. If you're driving and a tornado has been reported in your area, drive to the nearest building and take shelter. Don't try to outrun the tornado. A tornado can travel up to 70 miles per hour, with some being as fast as 300 miles per hour, and they rarely move in a straight path. It can easily pick up a tractor trailer and throw it around, regardless of how heavy it is. If you aren't near shelter or the tornado appears quickly, pull over immediately, but don't park under an overpass. Contrary to popular belief, this isn't a good option. While some overpasses can buckle under the high-pressure winds of a strong tornado, all overpasses tend to funnel the winds and increase their speed as they pass through. Once you've safely pulled over, you have two options. First, you can stay in your truck, buckle your seatbelt, and lower your head beneath the windows. Second, if you're near a low-lying ditch or other location lower than the level of the road, you can exit your vehicle and lay flat in the ditch. This can be dangerous, however, due to flying debris, so it's only recommended as a last resort. The best way to be prepared for high winds and tornadoes is to constantly check the weather and watch for any high wind or tornado warnings. Listen to the radio for weather alerts as you drive. Talk to other drivers at the truck stops and be prepared for wind gusts. Know your route and what counties you're driving through so you know which warnings apply to you. If you think it's too windy or you're empty and light loaded, stay off the road until weather conditions improve. If a severe storm threatens, park your tractor trailer with the tail into the wind, lower the landing gear for added stability, and then seek shelter in a reinforced structure. Combine high winds with dry summer months, and you have yet another hazard, dust storms. Let's go back to Paul Faines. Paul, what can you tell us about dust storms?
Thank you. Like fog, dust storms can come up suddenly and reduce your visibility to zero in an instant. You're likely to encounter dust storms throughout the spring and summer. They can occur anywhere, but are mostly common in the southwestern part of the U.S. Arizona especially experiences some of the worst dust storms in the country. As you drive in the drier states during the summer, be prepared for the possibilities of dust storms. Check your weather forecast and pay attention to dust storm warnings. If you drive through a dusty area on a windy day, slow down before you enter the dust. Use your low beam headlights and be alert of other vehicles around you. If you find that there's an intense dust storm coming up along your route and you can find a safe place to stop, do it. If you're driving in dust and it becomes so dense that you cannot safely drive, find a safe haven and wait for conditions to improve. One final note, dry conditions throughout the summer also increase the chances of forest and brush fires. Smoke from nearby fires can cause the same dangerous driving conditions as fog and dust. So be prepared should you encounter heavy smoke while driving. For WTV, I'm Paul Faines.